Hello and welcome to another YouTube video. Today I'm going to get started on building the kitchen. Let me show you guys the design that I'm setting up for this. So the part I'm building is just the water system, and this is going to be separate from the rest of the kitchen. It's actually a pretty simple design, but I'm going to be using this plywood over here. I got hooked up with a bunch of free scraps of like old cabinet wood. My main challenge tonight is just designing this kitchen by using dimensions that I can fit on these scraps here. Right then, let me show you where I'm at right now. This is basically most of what I was designing on the computer already set up. This is the sink I'm going to be using. I'm going to have it recessed into the counter, but you're still going to be able to see the front. Then under here, this is going to be where the water jugs are and the entire water system and stuff like that. And just for a reference of how tall this is a little bit shorter than a regular kitchen counter would be. So I'm fully standing up right here and it's about right at hip level. But there's also going to be a countertop here that's I think it's going to be like 1.5 or 2 inches high. So I didn't have enough wood to make all solid pieces like this one. So what I ended up doing was gluing 2 pieces together, and then they're actually being held together by the rest of the cabinet. The same strength that it normally would be. It's just a little bit uglier, but luckily these are on the parts that no one's ever going to look at. What I'm going to do is actually hook up the entire water system, and then after that I'm going to start on the countertop. Basically what I'm going to do is build it, and then I'll explain it to you after. I've just got my faucet, some hose, water pump here, the actual sink, and then the drain for the sink. And in the back of my car I've got a water tank. Time to get to work. So I ran into my first issue. I knew this wasn't gonna go 100% smoothly. The problem I'm running into is this piece right here. This is the piece that's supposed to sit in the sink like this. That's not the problem. The problem is that this has these holes here, and I didn't notice this when I was buying it, but the threads for the screw does not go all the way up. But since these threads only come to here, this entire part with these holes is hanging underneath the sink. So if you ever pour any water in here, then it's just going to fly out the side underneath the sink. So I had to go back to the store anyway to get my second water tank. So I might as well just do that now because I need this and I cannot continue without this drain. New day again today. Last night, the only thing I did that I didn't record was I glued up what I'm going to be using for my countertop. I don't even know what type of wood this is. This is literally something I got for $3 at the 80% off Home Depot section. So this is where I got last night. What I was able to do before it got dark was assemble these doors. First off, we've got this faucet, which I really like because it has this hose feature and you can move it around, and it also has two different streaming modes. In order to operate the faucet, you need to hit this switch that's on the right side and it'll start pulling the water. Next thing, we've got the sink itself. This is actually a vessel sink. I believe these are supposed to be used in bathrooms, but I kind of tried to mimic a look that I saw was popular on Instagram and Pinterest in, you know, the van and tiny house community, which is when you have the sink actually exposed in the front and it's not actually just mounted on top of the counter like it's supposed to be. And to achieve that look, all I had to do was build this cabinet and then make a shelf that was about the same height as what this was, minus the height of the countertop. Now for the inside of these cabinets, I actually used magnets here in order to grab the door to keep it closed, and also because without that it was kind of just hanging out in front here, but with the magnets on there it grabs on, and it's secure. So my setup is this. I just installed this sink, and then I have this hose coming off the bottom of it that's going into this drainage tank, or gray water, dirty water, whatever the hell you guys call it. Then I have this is the clean water right here that has this hose that's running to this 12-volt water pump. Then that goes into the hose that's in the faucet. So the only way to turn this faucet on is if you hit this switch, because I have the positive wire from this water pump is going to this switch. So when you hit this switch, it comes on, and then when you pull this out, it releases the water. And this pump is actually pretty quiet, but it gets really loud when the water is low. So I only have this thing like filled up a quarter of the way. And both of these tanks are 6-gallon tanks, so as long as you don't replace this one without dumping this one, then you'll never have any trouble with overflow. As far as I know, this is one of the most simple sink setups that you can possibly do for off-grid use. If I was making a shower, I would actually do it the same exact way, but I would add a water heater. But that's a project for another van. All of the products that I use, including the faucet, the sink, the water pump, everything is going to be in my description. You can find links to this stuff for Amazon. Thank you guys so much for watching this video all the way to the end, and I hope you learned something, or I at least entertained you a little bit. I'll be seeing you guys in the next video. Later.